hire. With ZipRecruiter, you can post your job to over 100 of the web's leading job boards with just one click. So you can rest easy knowing your job is being seen by the right candidates. Then, ZipRecruiter puts its smart matching technology to work, actively notifying qualified candidates about your job within minutes of posting so you receive the best possible matches. That's why ZipRecruiter is different. Unlike other hiring sites, ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on the right candidates finding you, it finds them. And it's no wonder 80% of employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate through the site in just one day. ZipRecruiter, it's the smartest way to hire. Find out today why ZipRecruiter has been used by growing businesses of all sizes and industries to find the most qualified job candidates with immediate results. And right now, my listeners can post jobs on ZipRecruiter for free. That is right, free. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/M&M. That's ZipRecruiter.com/M&M. One more time to try it for free. Go to ZipRecruiter.com/M&M.
Considering home security? Consider this. For 140 years, ADT has helped stop more crime than any other home security company. The yard sign isn't just a sign, it's a line in the sand. It's no wonder 5 times more people choose ADT to protect their homes. Visit ADT.com to learn more. For license information and terms and conditions, visit ADT.com.
Good morning and happy Friday, everybody. We made it. The weekend is here. Glad you are here with us on Mike and Mike today. Golic and Wingo. Trey Wingo and Mike Golic Sr. What a day, what a show, what a time.
I tell you what, a great sports night last night, no doubt about it. You and I had a nice long day here yesterday.
We did, but that's fine. Getting ready for the big show coming up on 11/27.
Wingo coming up, November 27th. I got the date wrong yesterday. What do you think? I do better.
Well, yeah, I'll nudge you along there.
But we had the all 4 major sports in action last night, and there was certainly some action. You know, the Thursday night football game that everybody complains about was a good one.
Again,
the clinching game for the Dodgers, as we'll go over, wasn't so much a good one if you were anybody but the Dodgers.
It was great if you're from Los Angeles.
Exactly
Chicago,
right.
Not so much, unfortunately.
Basketball, another trio getting ready, playing together, and a very famous rookie for maybe not the reasons you want to be that famous.
Yeah, Lonzo Ball did not actually have the greatest debut.
Exactly. So there was obviously a ton to watch, ton to go on, and how great it would get you prepared for a wonderful football weekend. So a couple of great college games this weekend as well that could go a long way. One, without a doubt, is a play-in game or possibly play-in or certainly play yourself out for the losing team for Notre Dame USC. So we have a lot going on.
Look, it's a great time. This is that sort of confluence of all the sports that we've talked about, which makes this one of the most energetic, entertaining times in the entire sports year. So, again, we got all the stuff coming up. We also have, just so people understand, coming up on the day, Eduardo Perez, ESPN's Major League Baseball analyst, will join us. Joey Galloway will join us to talk about the college football, the big games you talked about, and some other ones coming up this weekend. Herm Edwards will be here, and Darius Rucker will be here as well. Just dropped a new album, and it is a really good album.
Really good album, and we haven't had him on in a while, so he's doing his thing. As his album drops today, he'll be all over the place talking about it, but he'll come on 7:30 Eastern time. And to boot with that, of the bobbleheads that we're giving away, one of the bobbleheads we have is a Darius Rucker bobblehead.
Very nice.
So at the beginning of that interview, we will have Darius ask a trivia question about Darius. And
it seems to be a subject he would know.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
So we'll get a trivia question. First one to tweet in the answer, we'll get the Darius Rucker bobblehead.
So
that's some fun with that.
Yeah, so that's all the things we got coming for you. It's going to be a great Friday, great show for you. We'll get you started for the weekend, get you set in the right mood. We're presented by Progressive Insurance. All guests appear via the Shell Pennzoil Performance line. And don't forget to get in touch with us at Twitter at the 1-800-Flowers.com Twitter feed. But, Mike, let's start this show how we normally do with
Off the Top.
Okay, and let's go with the Dodgers. So much for drama. They reached the World Series for the first time since '88 with an 11-1 win over the Cubs. LA had failed to reach the World Series in their last 10 postseason trips entering this season, the longest streak in the divisional era since 1969.
Cubs, after the Dodgers beat those Cubs, the Dodgers now are going to make their 19th World Series appearance. That's third all-time. Yankees have been there 40 times. Giants 20 times. Cardinals 19, and now the Dodgers at 19 as well. And it came from an unlikely source. Kike Hernandez, 3 home runs, 7 RBIs. I mean,
not bad.
What a night to have a night.
Yeah, absolutely. And it was reminiscent a little bit of Reggie Jackson in the 77 World Series, where in the Game 6 clincher, he had 3 home runs on 3 pitches from 3 different pitchers. And it really, the joy that Hernandez had on that last home run was unbelievable.
It was fantastic. And again, the last time they were in the World Series, 1988, Kirk Gibson hit that shot. I always love these. The last time, this is what's going on since the last time the Dodgers were in the World Series, 1988. The Yankees have won 5 titles since then.
Yep.
The Marlins came into existence, won 2 titles. Red Sox and White Sox both snapped long series droughts.
As did the Cubs.
Yep. Corey Seager was born after that, as was Cody Bellinger and Yasiel Puig, 94, 95, and 1990 for those 3. Barry Bonds broke the all-time home run record. So a lot has gone on.
A lot has happened since the Dodgers were in the World Series. And by the way, it's interesting. Not that people in Houston want to hear this, but I think a lot of television executives at certain places might be salivating over the idea of a Dodgers-Yankees East Coast, West Coast, and the Yankees could get there tonight. The road to the World Series, by the way, goes through ESPN Radio. Catch all the postseason action presented by AutoZone on ESPN Radio, ESPNRadio.com, and the ESPN app. Those aforementioned Yankees face the Astros in Houston tonight, 1 win away from their 41st World Series appearance.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, the Yankees have already beaten one 100-win team. Sorry, the Indians.
Yeah,
it was
whatever.
in the script.
I was trying to cut you
so you
off.
wouldn't talk about that?
I forgot to hit the off the top.
No, we got it there. But it was all sort of seamlessly together.
I saw what you did there.
It was all sort of one big giant Jell-O mold.
Good job out of you.
By the way, and if they knock off the Astros, another 100-win team, they'll be just the 6th team ever to beat 2 in a single postseason.
Really impressive the way they're doing it. Again, coming back from the Indians after down 0-2 to the Astros. Now they're up 3-2. They have to get by Justin Verlander, who all he's done since joining the Astros,
oh my gosh,
including the playoffs, he's 8-0, 1.39 ERA, 51 innings pitched, 59 strikeouts. I mean, it's either first, second, or third.
Is that good? I'm not sure.
In baseball, through all that, just been incredible. What he has done. So that's what they're going through. So that's Verlander is needed when a complete game. The last time he threw in this series, they're going to need something close to that again to get this thing all knotted up to get to a Game 7.
Well, Severino goes for the Yankees. Again, the big question here, Mike, is whether or not the offensive explosion we saw in those 3 games at home for the Yankees will translate to Game 6 here in Houston, because they were effectively neutered by the Dallas Keuchel in Game 1, who had 10 strikeouts, and Verlander had 13 strikeouts.
Incredible outing,
in the Game 2 win by the Astros. So the question now becomes, do we think those Yankee bats will come alive at Houston? Now, it did exactly sort of translate that way against the Indians. They were shut out, or they were really sort of cut down those first 2 games. Now, they did blow the 5-run lead in Cleveland, but then they came back and had that unbelievable 9th inning at bat by Brett Gardner that allowed those 2 extra insurance runs to give Aroldis Chapman a little bit of a cushion in the Game 5 win. Do we think those Yankee bats can come alive again in Game 6?
Remember, this is a series that the home team has won every game.
Yep.
So the Yankees obviously are going to have to win one on the road to get to the World Series, but it's something they did in the last series.
And again, they're already on their 2nd 3-game winning streak of this postseason.
Impressive.
But Justin Verlander, boy, he's been really, really good so far for the Stros.
Off the top.
We continue with Off the Top and move into the NBA. In the Thunder, the debuts of Paul George and Carmelo Anthony, it was about what happened last year. Russell Westbrook, another triple-double.
Unbelievable. Starts it out, 21 points, 10 rebounds, 16 assists. By the way, the 16 assists, most assists in a triple-double in a season opener in NBA history. You know who he beat out for that?
Himself?
Oscar Robertson.
That's
and Bob Cousy.
Yeah.
So they were tied at 15. But, this again was the combination of a new threesome out there. Paul George, Carmelo Anthony, Russell Westbrook. George had 28, Carmelo had 22, and Westbrook had 21. They looked good. Now, they were playing the Knicks, who only have Kristaps Porzingis, who went for 31 points, 12 rebounds. They only had one other player, Enes Kanter, that had double digits, and he had 10. Nobody else was in double digits. It's one game, so we'll see where this team can grow. But Oklahoma City Thunder looked good as we look to see, is there going to be a team in the West that can compete with Golden State? It was a nice first outing by those three in Oklahoma City.
Well, not only that, but it was Carmelo against his old team for the first time. And I think he said, if you're a Thunder fan, this is exactly what you wanted to hear from Carmelo Anthony. He said, yeah, that chapter's closed. That chapter's closed. No more Knicks talk. And good for him.
Yeah, it is. It's time to move on. They got a nice team in Oklahoma City. Sam Presti's done a great job putting that together, even though it's only going to be for this year and it's going to change again. But let's see what they can do.
Well, it's almost that you sort of have to be that way in the NBA these days, right? You have to sort of let's just see what we can do now, because we know these moving parts are always going to be changing, especially with the situation of max contracts and how much you can move them around. It almost feels like every year is a year-to-year thing.
Yeah, but the one team that isn't, to digress here, but it's the Celtics. I think the Celtics had done a nice job. Sans the injury of Hayward, we're going to come back from that, we hope. But how they built for now to be good now, but also for years to come. They look like they're going to keep a lot of their parts going forward, where the others, I understand, especially in the West, the pieces you see in place right now could be in different spots next year.
Well, it's really going to be interesting because the injury to Hayward obviously changes everything in the East. And barring injuries to huge players for the Cavaliers, hashtag LeBron, or Dwayne Wade's knees don't hold up, or Derrick Rose's knee doesn't hold up. It sure looks like, and I know we're saying this in October, but we could have said it last year.
That's exactly right.
It sure looks like they're going to be there. Yeah. And then you have an impressive debut for the Thunder. You have what we're going to see in Houston.
Yeah, we already saw the Rockets beat, Golden State. But again, Golden State lost their first game last year as well.
Exactly. And then
into that.
I'm never going to count out the Spurs because the Spurs are the Spurs.
Exactly
so it'll be curious to see how much the wear and tear of all those teams in the West playing each other over that 82-game schedule might be a detriment to all four of those teams in the West. And then what happens with Cleveland if it looks like they're going to have a much easier road?
Well, maybe another team we might think about in the West. Maybe the Lakers.
Oh, no. That continues our
off the top.
Nicely done by you.
Thought so.
He's good.
Yeah.
He's good.
Yeah.
Because the Clippers just pounded the Lakers 108-92 in Lonzo Ball's NBA debut. He ran into Patrick Beverly, first-team All-NBA defensive performer last season, and he lived up to that billing.
Certainly did. Mr. 94 feet, as they say. Lonzo Ball was 1 of 6. He did have 9 rebounds. He had 4 assists, had just 3 points in this one. Beverly was all over him. Very interesting when you hear what Patrick Beverly said after the game to Lonzo Ball.
Yeah.
It was very interesting where that went. But, the Clippers, obviously the better team here. Blake Griffin, 29 points. How about DeAndre Jordan? 24 rebounds.
That's what he's there for.
Points, 24 rebounds. But, this was a spotlight on a young Lakers team trying to grow. Everybody talking about who may go there next year to build this super team, and Lonzo Ball will be the guy at the control. And listen, I like him. You watch him in the Summer League. We all watch the Summer League more than we've ever watched the Summer League before. Right. And after a rough start for him, he was the MVP of the Summer League. You can see it. You can see what his abilities are, how he sees the floor, and where he may go. But it was his first NBA game. Let's not expect too much. There's only one person out there that's expecting way too much out of this guy too early. We know who that is. It's his father. He's going to go through some growing pains, but I like the way he plays, and I think he's going to be a really, really good player, but it's just not going to happen right out of the gate.
Not only do you like the way he plays, you like the way he dealt with the adversity afterwards. He said, look, I didn't play good and my team didn't win, so it was a terrible night. I mean, look, Beverly was a big part of that.
Yes, he was.
He spent a game-high 29 plays guarding Ball, and in those, the Lakers shot 7 of 21 from the field and had 4 assists to 7 turnovers. It's going to be a
learning experience. Yep, it is.
And he'll get better, but obviously not the start he was hoping for, nor the start that the Lakers or Laker fans were hoping for. And we'll finish
off the top
with a little football game.
Yes.
Boy, that was a great football game last night as the Raiders defeated the Chiefs 31-30 on a crazy finish with 2 plays down the two untimed downs when it was all said and done, leading to that final touchdown for the Raiders.
Yeah, it was, and this is what we're going to get into, but just quickly, it was a game-winning drive by Derek Carr. I mean, it's your classic game winner when you go by the numbers of that. 11 plays, 85 yards, 2 minutes and 25 seconds. He takes him down the field, gets the winning touchdown, as Trey said, after 2 penalties at the end of regulation, so he had an untimed play. One of the penalties I did not agree with. The other absolutely was a penalty, but we had a melee during that game where Marshawn Lynch was thrown out of the game, so a lot to get to in this game.
Yeah, beast mode went least mode pretty quickly in that one, and we'll get into that as we finish up.
Off the top.
All right, don't forget Mike and Mike is presented by Progressive Insurance. We'll compare rates for you so you get the best deal even if it's not with us, saving you time and money. Now that's Progressive. Call or click today. Okay, there's so much to get into that Thursday night game between the Raiders and the Chiefs. Let's start on the positive side for the Raiders.
Yes.
Look, they had gone through 4 straight games and lost them all after a 2-game winning streak to start the season. Their offense was moribund, for lack of a better term. They had
What?
Moribund.
Are you going to do that too? Use big words that I don't understand?
Well, they're not that big.
Okay. Moribund is not a big word?
It's 3 syllables.
Well, I mean big in the sense of it's a, I don't know what it means word.
Okay. It was bad.
All right. See, why can't you just say bad?
Because moribund rolls off the tongue.
What about this show? What about you and I on this show would make you think you could use a word like moribund?
Just because I wanted to hear your reaction when I used the word moribund.
Unbelievable.
So it was moribund, and it was morose at times.
Okay.
See, now that one you get.
I
morose
like that one.
you get.
Yes, I do.
But it suddenly was energized. And how about Amari Cooper, right? This guy has been vilified all year.
Well, he's been dropping balls. I mean, rightfully so.
League high, 7 drops going into the game. Had another one last night.
Yep.
But he showed up in the first quarter. I think he had 27 fantasy points alone. And that really, I really believe, Mike, that sort of jump-started that entire Raider offense and their fan base last night, finally seeing their number one wide receiver play like a number one.
And they
wide
want to
receiver.
get him involved. And Hembo, I don't need it just this second, but I wonder how many guys have been targeted more than 19 times. He was targeted 19 times. There were 29 passes last night thrown by Derek Carr.
So you're saying it was heavy to Amari Cooper?
Holy, 29 passes, 19 targeted for Amari Cooper. I mean, that's just, and he caught 11 of them for 210 yards. A couple of TDs that were early on in the game. I mean, he had that monster game, and they need that because Crabtree, I think, had been playing well for the Raiders without question. They needed Cooper to step up. Cook, their tight end, has been a great weapon for Carr. He had 6 catches last night for over 100 yards, so I really like what he does in space as well. So they did need that. Yeah. They ran the ball 21 times, passed it 29 times, didn't run for over 100 yards, averaged a little over 4 yards a carry, but we're starting to talk about that O-line, kind of like the Dallas O-line. We're not seeing that great rushing attack out of these two teams like we saw some last year. So from that side of it, the Raiders did a very nice job. Kansas City, I mean, listen, Alex Smith, you score 30 points, you think you're gonna win the game.
Well, Alex Smith threw 3 touchdowns, 340 yards, and no interceptions.
Exactly.
Lost.
Yeah.
But look, just so people understand how unusual this was from Amari Cooper, it had been over 50 years.
Yeah.
50 years since a Raiders wide receiver had 200 receiving yards in a game. And let's not forget, towards the back end of their careers, a couple of guys named Jerry Rice and Tim Brown played for the Raiders in a pass-happy year that they went to the Super Bowl. Right. You know, with John Gruden as their head coach and Rich Gannon as their MVP. So this was an amazing performance, and our own Damian Woody nailed it. This is a win the Raiders absolutely had to have.
You win a game on a short week. By the way, the last time the Raiders beat Oakland, the Raiders beat the Chiefs, it was on a short week. Okay. So to be able to do that against a divisional opponent, absolutely, it just breathes life into your organization. Mm-hmm. Now you got to make the most of it right now. This game was, I've never seen a game like this before. Never.
And we'll get into the reasons why you've never seen a game like this before as well, because it had a little bit of everything. You had offensive firepower left and right. There were some questionable officiating throughout the game, beginning with Amari Cooper's first touchdown.
Yeah, right? It looked like Amari Cooper pushed off on that first touchdown. The ref was actually reaching for his flag and then did not, because, of course, it's the offensive side of the ball, says a disgruntled former defensive player.
Oh, he's saucy today.
Yeah, you had that penalty that wasn't called. At the end of the game, you had 2 penalties in that 11-play, 85-yard drive, 2:25 to go, where the Raiders needed a touchdown to get their first division when they were 0-2, to get to 3-4 and put Kansas City at 5-2. There were 2 holding penalties in the end zone.
Right.
The first one I didn't like.
On Jared Cook?
The Jared Cook, it was Ron Parker got the call. It was on Jared Cook. Cook had his arm out. He was shoving on Parker. Parker did come with the arm over the back. I understand that. But they both had their hands on one another. To me, that was a no call. Yeah. Jared Cook had just as much of a hold of Parker as Parker did.
But if you're watching on TV, you'll see the thing that Parker does, which I think initiated the flag. He put his hands over the shoulder pads of Cook. And I think as a ref, you're saying, okay, I see him grabbing like that. I'm
with you. I'm with you of what he saw, but Jared Cook was initiating just as much of the contact on that. I did not like that call at all, but it was called. The next one was on Eric Murray, covering Patterson, and that was just a bad play by Murray. He had inside coverage. He was a slot cover guy. Patterson was in the slot. He had position on him. And you're on the goal line, so the receiver's going to run out of real estate. There's no reason to hold him. There's reason to stay on him and then see where the ball is going to be. So that was a bad penalty. There was no need for that one at all. And then the next play, the untimed play, goes to in the corner of the end zone for Crabtree. It's a good play, good touchdown, good the whole deal. But they got the extra chances there with the penalties, and they win the game 31-30.
Look, it's everyone's going to say what's wrong with the Chiefs now because they've lost 2 games. But you know what? They ran into a team that in Pittsburgh that matches up very well with them for whatever reason. They're 3-1 in their last 4 games at Arrowhead, including a postseason win last year. I still think Kansas City is very good. They ran into a desperate team. They ran into a desperate team in Oakland that needed some big plays, and they got that. So that was the good part for the Raiders.
Right.
The questionable part was some of the officiating, and then the bad was what the heck was Marshawn Lynch thinking?
Yeah, first it starts out with the quarterback draw on 3rd and 10.
Yeah, just so people understand, if you didn't see it, it was a 3rd and 10 that the Raiders had, and you have Derek Carr who's just coming back from a broken bone in his back, and they call on 3rd and 10 a quarterback draw where Derek really runs into the guy right in front of him.
Right into the defender.
And then Marcus Peters, as he's sort of being held up, they blew the whistle, and Marcus Peters of the Chiefs comes in and delivers a headshot.
He does. He absolutely does. He got a penalty, and it's going to cost him a good amount of coin for that.
But it may cost Marshawn Lynch more because Marshawn Lynch, this was an empty backfield. He ran onto the field.
He wasn't on the play. He was on the sideline for the play.
Ran onto the field from the sideline and tried to play peacemaker, but in doing so tried to get through an official, put his hands on an official, sort of jostled him and pushed him aside. I mean, that was the easiest call of all time.
The first thing I'm going to correct you, I think, on. He was not running out there to play peacemaker. You don't sprint from the sideline onto the field to play peacemaker. He was trying to get at Peters. He was not trying to play peacemaker.
Well, he and Peters are both from Oakland. They go way back. A lot of people. Justin Forsett, the former running back, tweeted about this. That look, these guys know each other. I think he was going. Look, you're right. I don't know what.
I don't think there was any. I don't care if you were best friends growing up. Yeah. That dude just took a shot at your quarterback. You can be best friends after that. To me, he wasn't running out there to play peacemaker at all. He was running out there
with a purpose,
Peters, without question. And then he grabbed the official. He knew it. He walked off the field before they even made the call. He was taking his gloves off. He knew he was going to get tossed. As soon as you grab the ref and push the ref, you're done.
Especially when you sprint from the sideline.
From the sideline. So he's going to get fined for the ref thing, running out.
He might get suspended.
Oh my God! Running on the field, that was already going to be a 15-yard penalty. That was a bad play by him. No need to do that. I understand you want to protect your guy, but that wasn't the way to do it, especially when you're grabbing a ref.
Yeah. Oh no. Here's what Marshawn Lynch had to say after. Oh, that's right. He doesn't talk ever after the game. But his quarterback, Derek Carr, did talk about that play, and here's what he had to say.
Marcus is a good dude. You know, he's not a bad guy. You know, I was up, I was trying to still move, and he came and hit me. He did what he's supposed to do, so I'm okay with that. And he knows that. We talk, and, you know, when Marshawn came out, the thing that I love is the fight my teammates have, you know, for me. Because I know I'd fight for them. And so, you know, that says a lot about our team, especially when you go through a lot of hard times.
You know, Marcus Peters is from Oakland. He's a very good friend of Marshawn. Yes. Do you think Marshawn was there for Marcus Peters as well as for you?
Maybe. Maybe, but I know Marshawn's always got my back, too.
Marshawn was there for Peters. Marshawn was going for Peters. And let me tell you what, it's refreshing to hear a quarterback say, I have no problem with the hit. Right. It's refreshing to hear not everybody in the world whine when a quarterback gets hit, especially the quarterback himself. Thank you, Derek Carr. Peters felt he was making a football play, took advantage of the situation, and in this day and age of the game, you can't do that as much.
Right.
You know, I keep going back to when I played thing.
You kids get off my lawn.
Well, not really. That hit would have been just fine. fine.
Absolutely.
Right? There would have been nothing wrong with it. Now they want that type of thing out of the game, and I get it. So, but I'm so happy Derek Carr said that.
Derek Carr's great. And
he is.
Of course, he's feeling better about that because they won the game.
Yes, he is. Hey everyone, Mike Golic here. Support for Mike and Mike podcast comes from our friends at Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans. Chances are you're confident when it comes to your work, your hobbies, your life. Rocket Mortgage gives you that same level of confidence when it comes to buying a home or refinancing your existing home loan. With Rocket Mortgage, you can apply simply and understand fully so you can mortgage confidently. To get started, go to rocketmortgage.com/Mikes. Equal housing lender, licensed in all 50 states, NMLSconsumeraccess.org number 3030.
Home isn't just a place, it's a feeling that you're safe to enjoy the things that matter most. ADT lets you take that feeling with you, whether you're at home, your business, or online. We help keep you safe with security systems, home automation, alarms, and surveillance, so you can feel at home wherever you are. Go to ADT.com to get that feeling for less than $1 a day. ADT. Home. Safe home.
I may have to stand corrected. The more I'm sitting there reading about it, people are saying that with Marshawn Lynch, he was going out there to come, which to me is even crazier. You're going to sprint off the sideline knowing full well that's a penalty and you're going to get fined.
Well,
you know what?
Beast Mode does his own thing.
Yeah, he certainly does. Listen,
apparently he rode the BART train with Marcus Peters, with Chiefs and Raiders fans after the game together.
Listen, if he went out there to calm Peters down, I stand corrected. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But it could be my best friend. Yeah. If he just hit my quarterback like that, I'd be sprinting out there to get in his face. We can be friends again after the game. I played the game with a lot of guys who were friends. They weren't friends when I played. Yeah. They were friends after the game. But, hey, if that's what he went out to do, I stand correct.
All right, well, we'll get into that a little bit later because we got a lot of football talk coming up. But we're great to have our own Eduardo Perez here with us talking about the Dodgers' big win. Look, I think every Cub fan expected Eduardo this was going to happen eventually because it's only once has a team come down from down 3-0 to win a series and move on to the World Series, and that, of course, was the Red Sox in 2004. But, boy, the Dodgers made sure that the Cubs fans knew that this was not going to be a repeat of that early in this game.
They took advantage of it quickly, and I think they've learned from getting whooped in the past.
Right.
It's been already 4 years. What do you do? The high salary that they have, the experience that they've gained. They set a goal, and it's not just to get to the World Series, it's to win it. And you hear a lot of the players after the game express that. They're like, okay, it doesn't matter if it's Houston or New York that they're going to face. It's how are they going to win against those two teams. And they're a really difficult team to beat. They're a team that can beat you on the bases. They can beat you with power. We just saw that. They can beat you with pitching. Their bullpen is lights out. It's a different team every single day, and that's what makes it so difficult for them to get beat on a consistent basis.
So if I say Kike Hernandez is going to hit 3 home runs, have 7 RBIs, how much you buying into that on the bet before the game?
Unless not at all. Yeah. But then it's funny because you listen to him after the game, and he's talking about, I was texting my mom back in Puerto Rico,
right,
where are you going to watch the game? And she's like, I watched it at home yesterday, and you guys lost, so I'm going to go back to your grandparents and watch it there. And watch it there. So they had the generator on because in Puerto Rico still 65% of the island, better said 80% of the island is without power.
Yeah.
They got the generator working. They got the satellite dish. Let's go watch the game. And she's like, just make contact. She's like, no, I'm not making contact. I tried that for the last 2 games I started. I'm going deep, Mom. She goes, no, just make contact. I'm going deep. 2 pitches later.
Wow.
2 home runs, 5 RBIs.
2 home runs on 2 pitches.
That's a great story.
2 pitches.
That's a great story. And, he had the hat Pray for Puerto Rico on before the game, and he had to take that off. And the Dodgers sort of went to him and said, look, I understand you're upset about that. Just focus. Get on base a couple of times, and we'll make a donation. And he hits 3 home runs and gets 7 RBI.
Donation.
That's a huge donation.
That donation better be big. I'm just saying. That donation better be very, very big. And speaking of big, look, this is a guy who's been maligned his entire career for not being able to throw the kind of start you want in pressure situations in the postseason, and Clayton Kershaw came up with a gem through 6 innings.
Isn't it unbelievable? The first couple outings you have in postseason play, because you've been dominant, you get whooped by the Cardinals. It's basically what happened. But
it was the Cardinals in a specific inning, I think.
Right.
More than anything.
It was a 6th inning, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. 6th inning, that was his danger zone inning. Now, you go back his last 8 starts, the Dodgers have actually won 7 of those in postseason. So he's been lights out. He came in yesterday, had 5 strikeouts through 6 innings, and most importantly, had 8 ground ball outs to 1 fly ball out. That's the ratio that you want out of a Clayton Kershaw. That's the ratio you usually expect, let's say, if it's out of a Dallas Keuchel when he's going well for the Houston Astros. So having Kershaw, knowing that now he doesn't have to throw 8 innings, doesn't on every specific outing, he can let it go a little bit more. He can really start trying to hit his spots. He can pitch around certain guys because he knows his pitch count doesn't have to be low going into the 8th inning. You have a great bullpen there. You have a bullpen that starts off now with Kenta Maeda throwing 94 to 96 miles per hour for 1 inning. Who thought that, going into the season, that he was going to be your 7th inning guy? Brendan Morrow has taken over for Pedro Baez, which really struggled down the stretch, not even on the postseason roster. He's throwing in the 8th inning. And then you have Kenley Jansen, that we all know what he can do in the postseason. And if you need him to be extended, he can give you 2 innings now in the World Series. And they didn't need him to do that during this postseason so far. So they have an identity that they didn't have before. And this is what even makes this team even more dangerous than in the past.
So we have to get an opponent for them, either the Yankees or the Astros. Yankees up 3-2, and when it was 2-2, we were like, okay, now the Yankees got to go through Keuchel and Verlander. Well, Keuchel, check. Halfway there. they got through him. Verlander goes to the complete game, but a lot of pitches. And you made a very interesting point to us before the segment started about now everybody's like, oh, Verlander, complete game.
Right.
He's going to do it again to get this thing 3-3. But you may have a little question about that.
Yeah, if you look at it with Verlander, every time he's thrown over 120-plus innings, his next outing, pitches. Right. His next outing is not solid at all. We're looking at an ERA around 4.5, and it's rightfully so. I mean, you wear out a little bit more. That means now that you cannot have the same outing you had the time before. Last time he had 13 hitters where there were 0-2 counts in the game. That's unheard of. 13 hitters, 0-2 counts. He comes through big time and gets all those 13 hitters either to strike out 7 of them, the rest to fly out. It's an impressive stat for Justin Verlander. But then again, this is postseason play, and will you bet against Justin Verlander? That's the question. I don't. Yeah. But the good thing for the Yankees is it's not like it's a Game 7 Justin Verlander where you must win, and I think that will relax this team a little bit more.
Yeah, and they've got CeCe going in Game 7 if they have to get to Game 7, and he's been 2009 CeCe Sabathia so far in this postseason. Mike and Mike on ESPN Radio and ESPN2, presented by Progressive Insurance. All guests join us via the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line, and of course get in touch with us on the Twitter feed at 1-800-Flowers.com. Twitter feed. But let's talk about Aaron Judge here for a minute, because he's been tremendous.
Yes, he has.
At Yankee Stadium.
Yes.
He's hitting .333 in the postseason, but just .053 in road games. How do they get him going? And if you're Justin Verlander, how do you make sure you don't give him pitches to get him going tonight?
Doesn't this sound a lot like the Houston Astros when they were at Yankee Stadium, a young team that struggled offensively also to hit in a place, in an environment where they're not used to, they're not comfortable? What he did was he was swinging pitches out of the zone. And in Yankee Stadium, for some odd reason, he feels comfortable in that batter's box. His environment, his routine is set up. Now he's not swinging at pitches out of the zone, and when he has to make contact, and there was a big double he hit off the wall where he couldn't strike out, runner in scoring position, he needed to make contact. He did. The focus is there. If you're the Houston Astros and you have to face an Aaron Judge right now, I'd still go at him. I'd still see and press the button and push the issue to see how many pitches he's going to take.
Right.
But eventually, I think he'll still chase on the road. Look at his numbers. The splits are there. On the road are different. Huge. But as long as you strike out with no runners on base, that's okay. My problem is when there are runners on base or stakes there, that's what feeds the family. That's what puts the fat paycheck in the future for him. He needs to be able to come through, and at least at Yankee Stadium he did.
Is Houston the better team and the Yankees just the hotter team, or are the Yankees a better team right now?
Houston has the better, I still believe they have the better offensive team, more athletic team when it comes to that. But the pitching, right now, the bullpen is a difference. in all of this series, and right now it goes to the New York Yankees. The Houston Astros, their bullpen looks like it's tired. You got guys there that haven't pitched in October, don't have that experience, and you can see that they're worn down. Chris Davinsky is a big example of that. He threw 3 innings, sometimes 4, sometimes would come in for 1.
They got
abused
to him
during the week.
They got to him in this series,
and they've got to him big time.
All right, real quickly because we're running up against the clock. Who do you like tonight, Yankees or Verlander and Houston?
I like the Yankees, and I think the difference is going to be the bullpen.
All right. Wow. All right, Eduardo going with the
wait, the good bullpen of New York or the bad bullpen of Houston?
The bad bullpen of Houston.
Thank you for the clarification there.
Well, wait a minute.
I was wondering if you were going to go there or not. I was going to leave you scot-free with that.
That was good. No, he's good. Not just a pretty face.
No, I'm telling you, he listens.
He's not a pretty face.
He listens.
It's the makeup.
Eduardo, thanks very much. We appreciate
you
that.
Got it. Thanks for having me.
As a Marine serving in Afghanistan, I conducted logistics patrols in some of the world's most dangerous places.
The Sport Clips Help a Hero Scholarship Program helps military veterans like Jacob Dietz transition into civilian life.
The Sport Clips Help a Hero Scholarship is helping me get a degree in electrical engineering.
You can donate to Help a Hero at all participating Sport Clips locations. And on Veterans Day, November 11th, Sport Clips will donate $1 for every cut. Sport Clips. It's good to be a guy.
All right, we roll on here on a Friday on Mike and Mike. Trey Wingo and Mike Golic in. Preview Golic and Wingo coming your way 11:27. You mentioned Blimpworthy in college football. Joey Galloway will.
Yes.
In about an hour. Yep. About an hour, break through some big games. But there was a big debut last night in the NBA, and it's time for Straight Talk, brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless. Best phones, best networks, no contracts. And that, of course, was the L.A. debut of Lonzo Ball with the Lakers. It did not go as planned for Lonzo nor for the Lakers, as Patrick Beverley shut him down completely, and the Clippers won that game with ease, Mike.
Yeah, Beverley, listen, all-defensive player, and
4 feet.
As you're going to hear in a moment, there was a little bit of motivation behind that. But, it's a young Lakers team right now. Is Brook Lopez the best player on that team now until we see what these younger guys like Ingram and Ball are going to do? It's a team that's going to be growing, and a lot of talk of, will free agents go there after this year? We'll wait and see. We're one game into 82, but it was the much anticipated first game of Lonzo Ball, and yeah, he got stymied. But he's not the first or the last guy to come out of college. It's going to have a tough opening night. I like him as a player. I think he's going to get better, but I did think it was interesting after the game with Patrick Beverley and kind of the route he took.
Yeah, just so you look at the numbers for Lonzo Ball. In 29 minutes, he was 1 of 6 from the floor, 0 of 2 from the line. He only had 3 points. He only had 4 assists, and he had a bunch of turnovers as well. I think he had 2 turnovers. So he was
minus 14.
Minus 14.
Yeah.
And obviously not what he wanted. And you alluded to it. And here's what Patrick Beverley of the Clippers had to say after the game about the extra motivation that he had.
I just had to set the tone, man. Yeah, I told him out the game, man, due to all the riffraff his dad brings, that he's gonna get a lot of people coming at him. He has to be ready for that, and I let him know after the game. But what a better way to start with Mr. 94 feet guard tonight. Man, how much do you embrace? I'm not done. Welcome to the little young NBA.
Yeah, laying down the gauntlet right there. That's what's going to be expected, and what Lonzo should expect because of the big baller brain.
And listen, to even go away from that for a moment, when you're a rookie, when you're touted as a rookie, as a number 2 pick of the draft, you're coming in, you're as a youngster, a one and done, a teenager, maybe 20, but usually these guys are 19, 20 years old. Do you think these veterans want to get shown up, by young players doing one and dones and coming out? And some have come out and done well, but you're going to want to clamp these guys down anyway. But Patrick Beverley, we brought this question up a lot. Are guys going to go after him extra hard because of what his dad said? And Patrick Beverley went up and told him, listen, the next 5 guards he plays against, Eric Bledsoe, Drew Holiday, John Wall, Kyle Lowry, and Ricky Rubio. Bledsoe averaged 2 steals a game. Holiday and Lowry ranked among the top 4 point guards in defensive real plus minus. Wall is a former all defensive team player, and Rubio averages over 2 steals a game. So it's and if there truly is that extra motivation, that we always said.
There certainly was for Patrick last night.
And
he laid it out there.
He said, that's what your dad did.
Yeah.
As I said, I don't want to make it all sound like the only reason they play tough against him, because he is a rookie and you're going to play tough against him, and he's going to learn. I do like Lonzo Ball. I do think he's going to be a good player.
That's the thing in this. I think the way Lonzo has handled all of this has been remarkable. It's been remarkable. And they even did that Father's Day commercial.
Yeah.
He's been very self-effacing about the whole thing. and that's the hard part, because the kid has handled all of this with grace. And now he's having to deal with the fallout. Other people that I used to always say, don't make me put out someone else's fire.
Right.
And that's sort of the situation that Lonzo finds. He's having to put out a fire that has really nothing to do with him.
I mean, Schlereth's line, Mark Schlereth, our old buddy here, used to always say, I have to cash a check you wrote.
Yeah.
Don't be writing checks that I got to cash, and Lonzo has to cash that check. And of course, his dad spoke after the game. We're not playing it. I mean, you can go ahead and find that somewhere else. It was an embarrassment. It sounded ridiculous. So we're not even wasting our time with that.
How do you feel about that?
It's just ridiculous.
I wasn't clear, so I just wanted to make sure.
My gosh.
Yeah,
but again.
But that's the reality for Lonzo Ball. That's
Yeah.
exactly what it's going to be like.
All that being said, I do think he's going to be a
good player.
Just the way he has vision of the court, and once he gets some games under his belt, I look forward to seeing what he does and that team does with some young players. So we'll see.
All right, that was Straight Talk Wireless, nationwide coverage on America's largest and most dependable 4G LTE networks. Okay, lots more coming. We're just getting started on the first hour here of Mike and Mike. Coming up, more fallout on the Raiders win last night, plus Darius Rucker, new album out. He'll join us in the next hour. That's all ahead. Stay with us. Mike and Mike on a Friday.
I just saved hundreds of dollars by switching to Geico. I've never felt more alive.
Disclaimer. Geico cannot guarantee you will feel more alive. You either possess functioning respiratory and circulatory systems, or you do not, or you are a zombie. If you are indeed a brain-starved zombie and you would like to save money on car insurance, the Geico legal team applauds your excellent life choices, even in your shambling afterlife. But we strongly encourage you to visit geico.com or download the Geico app. Please stay a minimum of 500 feet away from our large and presumably delicious, delicious brains.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15%.